Because no matter what, no matter where, you need the truth. And specifically, if you're listening from Newport Richey to St. Petersburg or from Tampa to the coast, you can get the answer on FM 93.7. Always on AM 860, online at theanswertampa.com. And depending on where you are, on FM 93.7.
Do one thing this year that changes you forever. Something extraordinary. A bucket list experience with years of memories packed into 10 invigorating days. Join Dr. Sebastian Gorka and Dinesh D'Souza in Israel this November. We'll visit over 40 iconic places, right from scripture and history. Reserve your spot today when you visit standwithisraeltour.com, standwithisraeltour.com, or call 855-565-5519.
The following program is sponsored by Bay Area Medical Can Care Clinic.
Odyssey. Here is your exclusive AccuWeather forecast.
Nice today, lots of sunshine, high 76. Clear tonight, low 59. Pleasant tomorrow, lots of sunshine, high 84. Clear tomorrow night, low 65. Tuesday, mostly sunny and warm, high 88. Tuesday night, clear skies, low 69. Plan with confidence. Download the redesigned AccuWeather app today. That's your AccuWeather forecast. I'm Cheryl Golden for AM 860, The Answer.
Dr. Bill, your radio MD. I got Ken with me this morning. We're on 860 AM, 93.7 FM, and we're also on Facebook, YouTube, I think Twitch, and of course, drbillradiomd.com. You can pick up the show there, I do believe. So we've got a lot of venues that we can pump out our little show to, and give a shout out to my new neighbor and friend Pat and her daughter, who is in Jacksonville, whose name I don't know, but if she's listening, yes, I am the president of the Homeowners Association, and yes, I'm the same Dr. Bill, and I talked with your mother last night, so there you go. So, now listen, I had a couple of my patients come in who actually found me through the radio show during the pandemic, and nice couple, but they were asking about the monoclonal antibody, and Ken and I were talking about that before the show for the COVID virus. And I haven't really seen much activity at St. Pete General lately with COVID. I haven't heard of much either. Have you, Ken?
No, in fact, I was telling you, I haven't seen a lot on the internet about it recently either.
But on April 5th, the Food and Drug Administration pulled sotrovimab, which was one of the monoclonal antibodies, but the bebtelovimab is still approved, and I think we can still get that at St. Pete General. I don't know. I just haven't had any patients lately that needed it, so I haven't really been involved with that. But it looks like this thing's kind of dying down, doesn't it?
Well, let's hope so. It's about time.
Yeah, but we need some other non-lethal pandemic to come along, because things are getting slow at the office now that the Canadians are going back. So I guess the bebtelovimab works against Omicron, but the other one didn't work that well against it. Now, in the Ukraine, they found dozens of Ukrainians in a mass grave near Kyiv. I guess this was yesterday, the day before. And so now the UN and the human rights people, they're all beating the desk and pounding the drums that Putin's a war criminal and the Russians are war criminals. And of course, the Russians are saying, we're not war criminals. You know, these people got in the way. We had to mow them down. You know.
Well, their official excuse, what is that the Ukrainians set it all up and it was all staged.
Yeah, and it was staged, and
they were shooting their own people for it. Yes, that was in there too.
They were shelling their own people.
Yeah.
And so that was the latest, that there was an apartment building and a school, I guess somewhere in the east, and the Russians are saying, well, it wasn't our shells. I'm like, wait a minute. Where are the shells coming from?
They can't possibly believe that anybody's buying any of this.
Oh, you can't make this stuff up. I mean, this is just...
Well, those are some lame excuses they've got there.
Well, you know the Russians don't lie. They've never lied. And
No, have never lied to the West at all.
And you know, they say that the Ukrainians are are all a bunch of fascist Nazis and all this and that. And I'm thinking, let's see, fascism. It's a one-party state with a strong man at the head and social programs to keep people happy. Now, can someone tell me if that's any different from what Russia is now? I mean, it allows free enterprise, but the free enterprise that it wants. So, and then the Germans are going the other way. They were fascists fighting communists, and now they're more communistic, and now they're going to fight or I guess I don't know if they'll fight the Russians or not. What do you think? Do you think they'd go to war over any of this? I don't know.
Doubtful. I really am.
I don't know.
Russia would have to attack Germany.
Yeah, I think so. I don't think the Germans would go to bat for anybody.
No, of course they would have to walk through Poland before they got to Germany.
Yeah, and the Poles will fight.
The Poles will fight. So Germany will have a nice lead time. They're coming.
And meanwhile,
I don't know.
And meanwhile, in France, Marine Le Pen, she's a French right-wing politician, and she's given Macron a run for the money. I guess today's election day there, and the polls are tight, and all the campaigning is shut down now. And I think her father was Jean-Marie Le Pen, and he was a nationalist, and he started this RN party, National Rally, and they were kind of racist and fascist leaning. But she's more open, and she says, same-sex unions are okay, and we welcome everybody. But they want to, among other things, get out of NATO and be more independent of the European Union. And they also want to de-Islamize France, get the Muslims out. And she's got a pretty good shot at becoming their next prime minister or president or whatever.
I don't understand the leave NATO part. How does that help France at all?
I think it's just a statement that they don't want to be involved in the left-wing lunacy of the other European countries and the United States as it marches closer and closer to a socialist state. Although Trump's yelling and screaming again.
I didn't hear his talk yesterday. He was in North Carolina last time?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't hear any of that yesterday. What did he say? Do you know? Have you heard?
Oh, he said that if they get rid of Title 42, it's going to, destroy the country. And his usual, I don't disagree with what he says. It's just how he says it that gets people. You got to love him, though. You got to love him.
I think there are a lot of people out there who agree more with his policies.
Oh, yeah.
Than with what he says sometimes, if you know what I mean.
And then this just came across my desk. A local man addicted to brake fluid says he can stop anytime he wants. Did you get that, brake fluids?
I heard that.
Okay. Never mind.
It just took me a second to put it all together in my head.
He's addicted to brake fluid? And
brake fluid. He can stop anytime he wants.
Oh, by the way, I got my new car.
Hey, what'd you come up with?
I got the Hyundai Ioniq 5. It's a little mini SUV, all electric. It supposedly gets a 300-mile range on a full charge. I'm guessing it's more like 250, but that's fine. That's plenty for me. I don't go anywhere but here in town. And if we're going to go on a long trip, we'll just take her car because it's a gas. But it's pretty cool. You got to relearn the whole art of driving a car because everything's push button and or touch screen and not push button but touch screen. Look at that push button. That's the old days. But it's all touch screen now, and it's really neat. But I got to figure it out. So I spent about 2 hours trying to figure out which charger to buy to put at the house here, and that's going to be $600. But these things are not cheap. It was $55,000 sticker, and then they mark it up $5,000 over that, Ken, because it's such a demand for these things. Like, whoa.
– That is pricey, yeah.
It's unbelievable.
And then at home, do you have to have somebody come in, an electrician or something, to install a charger, or you
Now I
just
can do
plug it
it.
into the house? What's the process here?
Well, I've ordered I've got a 30 amp down there now, but I wanted a 50 amp, so I'm going to take the 30 amp out and put in some heavier gauge wire and put in a 50 amp breaker. Take out the 30 amp breaker and put in a 50 amp breaker. So then I'll have a full 40 amps because that'll charge in 6 hours. I think that
Well, that's not bad, I guess.
I think the 30 amp is like 12 hours, 18 hours, and then it comes with a 110 charger, so you can plug it into a standard outlet, but it takes like 40 hours to charge fully. I guess if you were just doing it a little bit every day, it would do it overnight, it would work. But even that, the cable's not long enough, and so at any rate, I'm just going to do it so that I can get in and out in a hurry.
How do you like driving it? I've never driven an electric car. What are the differences, or are there any?
There's no gear. There's reverse and drive, and that's it. So it doesn't have a transmission like a gas engine has. It's basically a direct drive with some minor modifications on it. And so if you think of an electric motor as having infinite ability to spin and rotate, and you have a direct drive, then you get the idea that you don't need gears. It delivers the same amount of torque at whatever speed you're at. You know what I'm saying?
So you don't feel any shifting, obviously, because you don't have a transmission.
No transmission.
But your acceleration, better or worse than a gas-powered car, right?
Oh, it'll accelerate a lot faster than most gas cars will. The neat thing though is when you take your foot off of the gas, it breaks itself. It's those electric motors they just shut down, and so everything kind of winds down quickly. So you don't have to use your brake very much, and that's unique. And I like that because I hate using the brake. I'd rather use the finger than the brake. but that tends to get you into gunfights, so I try to refrain from doing that.
All right. Well, keep us posted on the Hyundai experience here, because
It's pretty.
I don't have it. I've never even driven an electric car, like I say, so I don't have any reference.
We drove the Tesla when it first came out, when it was the sports car, and that thing would pin you to your seat when you accelerated. That was pretty cool. It really took off, and when you took your foot off of the accelerator, it really slowed down because it had the regenerative braking. I guess mine has that too. But it's really neat because you push the unlock, and the door handles are not recessed in. They're flush, and they pop out, and they're like little sticks, like little grips. And then when you lock it, they go in, and the mirrors fold in, and the whole thing just looks like it's a spaceship that's ready to be launched. And it's pretty neat. I mean, everything's all electric. Everything pops up. It's got a little pad where you can put your phone in the console, and it charges your phone. You just
That's pretty cool. I like all these ideas.
you just lay it on there, and it's it's one of those electromagnetic inductive chargers, and it just charges your phone. This is pretty cool. This is pretty cool.
I think they're probably great for people who don't drive long distances every day. But like I do, like about 70 miles a day. That's probably beyond the capability of most of these things.
Well, you could do that easily with this car, but you'd have to charge it every few days.
Right.
And
Hmm.
the problem is charging stations. If you want to go somewhere, so one of my friends went over to Orlando for a wedding, and the problem he ran into is that he was staying with a friend, and of course his friend didn't have a charging station, and so he found a station and he went to charge up, and it was already in use, so he couldn't charge up, so he had to ride around town for an hour to find some place to charge. Well, I think if you're going to travel, you need to go to a hotel that has a charging station and make sure that it's working. So you got to call them. So if you book at the Hyatt or the Hilton, just make sure you give them a call before you go and say, is your charging station working? Is it available? How big a demand is there? How quickly can I get my car hooked up to charge? And that will help you considerably, so then you don't have to run around town looking for a charging station. You can go downtown St. Pete and there's a whole bank of them, but you can never get. They're always full. I guess you could go down at 2 in the morning, but then you'd probably be fighting the college kids.
Yeah, that's going to be the problem with these cars as more and more of them hit the road.
And
just not enough charging stations.
And Biden wants to add 100,000 or 500,000 charging stations, and Elon Musk says, we don't need the government to do that. Let private enterprise do it. Why should the taxpayer subsidize that? I don't know which is the right answer. My wife likes the idea that Biden's going to put in 500,000 charging stations. But, of course, she has a lot of Tesla stock, so she wants to see that go up. And she figures the fastest way is to let the government subsidize a little bit of this.
Nothing the government does is the fastest way, Doc.
No. And it's certainly not the most efficient either.
Exactly.
But speaking of the government, you know what Title 42 is, and you know how long it's been around?
I know it's been around a long time.
Yeah, since World War II.
Is it that long? Okay,
Right.
I thought it was more of a 70s thing.
And there's one part in there, which is what the Trump administration pulled out of the bag, that says that the immigrations people can block entry to anybody coming from a country that has a pandemic or some serious illness going on. So that was what Trump was using to keep people out when he was in power, and now Biden wants to get rid of that. And apparently there was a big fight in the White House over this. I guess there's a for and against. I think those who are thinking about re-election are against it. They don't want to end the Title 42 section that prohibits that. But, Title 42 is civil rights, it's public health, it's child welfare, it's housing, public housing. I mean, it's all the stuff that you think of that Health and Human Services does. So I don't know what's going to happen with that, and we'll see if Trump.
Well, at least he's getting both sides. You know what I mean? You don't want him just hearing one side of any argument. So it's nice to know there are people in his administration who might be talking up the other side too.
I guess he got mad earlier in the year, or earlier in his term, when they brought it up and he was yelling at people and all that. But I can't imagine Joe yelling at people. He's such a sweet guy.
You disturb the nap.
He loves everybody.
That's right.
And half of them are women. So that keeps him busy, I guess.
When he's not napping, yes.
Yeah. What are you going to do? Any rate, so the Philippines, they're in an election cycle too. And, of course, South Korea just elected a conservative. So everything's swinging back the other way again. And now the South Koreans say they want strategic weapons, U.S. weapons, on their soil. So because the new president's saying North Korea is a real threat, and hey, can we have a couple of B-2 bombers and some tactical nuclear weapons just in case? And I say give it to them. You know what?
Hey, why not? Why not?
You know what? If you want to put an end to all of this nonsense, you just load up about 5 or 10 nuclear-tipped missiles on the deck of an aircraft carrier, and with great fanfare and the world press, go over to Japan, drop off a few, give South Korea a few, give the Philippines a few, and say to the Chinese, hey, we're just trying to be friendly.
That's right.
We just want to be everybody's friend.
Just trying to get along, that's all.
Yeah, we just want to get along with you guys. So their new president, whose name I can't pronounce very easily, he says, "Come on, let's rearm. Let's get this puppy up to speed, and make sure the North Koreans understand that if they mess with us, we'll take them off the map." Which they probably would. I mean, half the North Koreans would defect immediately. It'd be like the desert in Kuwait when all the Iraqis threw down their guns and said, "Please capture us," because they were conscripts, and most of the North Korean army, they're conscripts. The hardcore guys are probably going to stay, but 90% of them are just going to say, "To hell with us! We're going south and getting something to eat. We're hungry."
Yeah, we're kind of seeing that with the Russian troops. A lot of those guys, I guess, gave themselves up.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, they just, forget it. You want the tank here? We're done.
And you know, they had another prisoner exchange, and I'm thinking, I'm not sure I would want to be given back to if I were a Russian soldier, you know. Either way, you're going to Siberia because you screwed up and lost, or you defected, or whatever.
Good point, Doc. You might want to stay. Yeah.
And the Ukrainians are like, hey, we don't want them. We got enough headache.
Well, I'm glad to see the Ukrainians at least shelled some Russian territory.
Yeah, they lobbed a few in, and
Yeah, they did, and it's what you get. You see.
And Boris Johnson's talking about giving them anti-ship missiles and some other pretty sophisticated hardware. I'm like, you go, Boris. I'm all for it. I don't know why we're not doing more.
Neither do I.
Maybe we are. I don't know. You know, you don't know what's going on for real because you're not on the ground in Poland to see what they're bringing in and what they're not bringing in. But I don't think there's any doubt that if he can do this in the Ukraine, you know what? He'll go after the Baltics next. So we're going to have, sooner or later, we're going to have to go in. We might as well do it sooner. But we can let the Ukrainians wear them down a little bit.
Yeah, let him expend his ammunition.
Yeah, and I think that's pretty much what we did in World War I and II. Is we just kind of sat on the sidelines and waited for everybody to grind themselves down a little bit, and then we come in and look like a hero.
Exactly. It became a war of attrition, and then in the end we came in. Same thing happened in the First World War. We always come in a little late.
Well, better late than never, but, you know, tea parties are notoriously stuffy anyway, so.
Well, they're not our wars. Neither one of them really was our war. We just got dragged into it at the end. We were neutral for most of the time in both those wars.
Yeah, and, well, Woodrow Wilson, he was a dove. He wanted to make world peace and start the League of Nations and all that, and end colonialism and, you know, big ideals. And, of course, he ran into a small body of men called the U.S. Senate who didn't agree with him and wouldn't ratify anything that he wanted to do.
Well, you know, but again, we always seem to be brought into these things towards the end to finish it up. It'll be that last push.
Well, the big deal was that after Washington's last term, Hamilton, who wrote all of his speeches and wrote his farewell speech, avoid entangling alliances and all of that, because Hamilton foresaw that we would be a huge nation and that we did not need to marry ourselves to any one party. And actually, Hamilton was the father of the Monroe Doctrine as well, which had started back during Washington's term, the idea of America for the Americans, keeping colonialism out of the American hemisphere. But the best advice I got last night was to marry a short gal and keep your guns on the top shelf. She still might get you, but you'll hear her dragging the chair over to get up there to get it. So you might have a shot of getting away. So that's why I married a 5-foot Korean gal, because even though she knows how to shoot, I got the guns up high.
Wise man.
Yes. Don't teach your wife to shoot, because the first person she's going to shoot is you. No doubt. No doubt.
That's right. That's why murder investigations always begin with the people closest to you.
Yes. Love's a grand thing, isn't it?
It is, till it goes bad.
And then you better know how to run fast. But, you know, the one that pulled the pistol on me, I still am semi-friendly with. But the one that pulled 5 attorneys on me, that one, I'm worried that's over. I'd rather get shot in the leg or the other parts of my anatomy than have to deal with 5 attorneys. Oh, my God.
No, Doc, I tell you, you're too funny today, pal.
It's a strange world. All right, so are we going to pull for Marine Le Pen and get France out of NATO? Because, I mean, I don't know. Do you think they'd actually fight if NATO decided to go to war against somebody? Because,
they would surrender.
Well, the French don't mind fighting, but they want to fight on their terms. They want it their way. They want to be completely in control. And, you can understand that, especially since they fought with England for 1,000, 1,500 years. They fought over who was going to control Western Europe, and I don't think anybody really came out on top. Maybe Germany. They seem to be the dominant figure in Western Germany, but Great Britain's still a pretty powerful little country.
Well, I don't think I don't see the benefit of going alone.
No, I don't either, and I think that you might have to make some concessions to the partnership, even if you don't agree with their left-wing leanings and their they're pro this, pro that, and pro-Islam and pro whatever anti-Christian bent. But that may be a fad too. That may pass. That may go by the by. But I think that if we emphasize in our country that the number one document, the number one Bible is the Constitution, because all of the other documents are protected by that. And if you don't put the Constitution first ahead of the Quran or the Bible or the Torah or whatever, then you're not going to have that very long, because one group will overwhelm another group and say, well, we're not going to let you have your holy book because we don't agree with your religion. So that's the nice thing about our main Bible, which is the Constitution, is that it protects everybody, Ken.
Yes, it does. And though sometimes we need to change it. And that's the beautiful thing about the Constitution. It's flexible.
It is.
To meet the age. And that's why it's lasted so long, I think, because it can be adopted and changed and formed to serve the people who are, alive at the time.
I agree. I agree with you 100%. I think.
You know what it's time for, Doc?
It is time for a question.
It is time to give away a couple of Dr. Bill, your radio MD coffee mugs. The much coveted coffee mugs from Dr. Bill. 2 of them up for grabs, and all you have to do is answer this question. Be the first person at 877-969-8600 to answer today's question, and always deals with something we just talked about in the first half of the show. So if you've been listening, if you've been paying attention, you already know the answer. And again, it deals with Doc's personal life, away from the doctor's office. What did Doc buy this week that's going to help him get around St. Pete and places within, well, I don't even want to say because I'll give it away if I say any more. So what did Doc buy this week that'll help him get around?
And remember,
give us a call. Excuse me?
Remember, it was not a Surrey with a fringe on top.
So that's a great little song.
That is, and I actually have a Surrey with a fringe on top, and I'm going to give my old car to my mechanic, and he's going to put a little electric motor on it so we can tool around the neighborhood in it.
Oh, that's cute. 877-969-8600, 877-969-8600. First person with the correct answer wins. Call now. Doc, up for some coffee?
I'm up for some coffee. Let's go to a little bitty coffee break. We'll be right back. I am Dr. Bill, your radio MD.
With SRN News, I'm Michael Harrington in Washington. It is Holy Week, Palm Sunday today. We will progress along to Monday, Thursday, Good Friday, and then Easter Sunday a week from today. Pope Francis made a Palm Sunday proclamation calling for an Easter truce in Ukraine to make room for a negotiated peace, highlighting the need for leaders to, quote, make some sacrifices for the good of the people. People are queuing up across France today to vote in the first round of the country's presidential election. Up to 48 million eligible voters will be going to the polls, choosing between 12 candidates, including incumbent President Emmanuel Macron. British author Jack Higgins, who wrote The Eagle Has Landed and many other best-selling thrillers and espionage novels, has passed away at the age of 92. Publisher HarperCollins says Higgins died at his home on the English Channel island of Jersey, surrounded by his family. This is SRN News.
It's Dr. Bill for Bay Area Medical, located at 6399 38th Avenue North in St. Pete. 727-384-6411. 727-384-6411. Full service clinic with x-ray, heart imaging, ultrasound, stress testing, and minor surgery. We provide quality health care in a warm and friendly atmosphere. We are multilingual, well-trained, and certified. Most American insurance and new patients accepted. Bay Area Medical, home of Can Care, 727-384-6411, 727-384-6411. Dr. Bill here. With social distancing and sheltering in place, telemedicine is here. Bay Area Medical, home of Can Care Clinic offers telemedicine for new and established patients. You can see me without an in-office visit. Schedule an appointment at 727-384-6411, 727-384-6411. When it's time for your appointment, type this web address into your cell phone or computer web browser, doxy.me/Bay Area Med. A cell phone works well and is all you really need. For computers, you need a web camera and speakers. We'll give you this address when you call for your appointment. We accept most insurances and travel insurances. Canadians and visitors, please call your travel insurance company for an authorization number prior to the visit. Co-pays and deductibles apply. Self-pay rates are available. Just ask. We accept credit cards, PayPal, and Stripe. 727-384-6411, 727-384-6411. Dr. Bill here. My friends at St. Pete MRI and Sleep Diagnostics are your best choice for state-of-the-art MRI, CT, and sleep studies. Quality unsurpassed. 25 years experience makes St. Pete MRI my go-to imaging center. Self-pay rates are competitive and out-of-pocket cost a fraction of a hospital. Conveniently accessible from both sides of the bay at 750 94th Avenue North, St. Pete, near the Gandy. 727-577-2220, 727-577-2220.
You hear about misinformation in the news every day. Dennis Prager here for AmFed Coin and Bullion. Brokers continue to talk buyers into overpriced collectible coins, claiming they appreciate more than gold and silver. It's a fact that the majority of the collectible market has actually lost value, even with gold near all-time highs. Call Nick and his team at AmFed Coin and Bullion to take advantage of his honest advice and extensive expertise. 800-221-7694. That's 800-221-7694. AmericanFederal.com.
Susan, I'm sorry I'm late. Traffic is terrible.
It sure is. But on top of that, gas prices have been skyrocketing. I can't believe how expensive gas has gotten recently.
Prices at the pump are up, but I never pay full price for gas anymore. I just use the free Get Upside Gas app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get paid cash when you buy gas with the Get Upside app?
Yes, up to 25 cents a gallon cash back every time I buy gas.
And does that actually add up to anything?
I'll make $200 to $300 this year.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the free Get Upside app now.
Download the free Get Upside app now in the App Store or Google Play to save up to 25 cents a gallon when you buy gas. Use promo code PIPE for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's up to 50 cents a gallon on your first fill-up. You can cash out anytime to your bank account, PayPal, or any gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Get Upside app and use promo code PIPE for up to 50 cents a gallon cash back on your first tank. That's code PIPE.
AM 860, The Answer. Online at theanswertampa.com.
Odyssey.
Here is your exclusive AccuWeather forecast.
Nice today, lots of sunshine, high 76. Clear tonight, low 59. Pleasant tomorrow, lots of sunshine, high 84. Clear tomorrow night, low 65. Tuesday, mostly sunny and warm, high 88. Tuesday night, clear skies, low 69. Plan with confidence. Download the redesigned AccuWeather app today. That's your AccuWeather forecast. I'm Cheryl Golden for AM 860, The Answer.
And I'm back. This is Dr. Bill. I like that tune, Ken. I like that.
It's very relaxing.
It's got a nice
kind of a
jazzy,
George Benson feel to it.
Yeah, it's got a beautiful feel to it.
Yeah, we need a little relaxation nowadays.
Oh yeah.
Between the COVID and the Ukraine and the economy. Speaking of, I saw gas $3.97 coming in today at one place. So is this emergency over too?
You know what? In California, I heard some places it's $7 a gallon.
Okay, so the answer is no.
The answer is no.
So these prices are just going to keep on going up and down, I guess.
I don't know. I guess apparently now Ukraine. I didn't know that the Ukrainians were still buying. They were still buying gas and oil and coal from the Russians. And I guess Zelensky said, "Nah, we're going to quit doing that." That's a good idea. So the Russians were supplying them with, I guess, gas and oil. I don't know. How does this all work?
This is the craziest thing. It really is. I was reading just this morning, though, waiting for the show to come on, that I guess one of Putin's, I think it was a former economic advisor, probably living in the West somewhere now, said if we were to cut off all of the purchases of the Russian oil and gas, that Russia would have to end the war within 3 months.
Oh, yeah.
They just couldn't take the loss. So maybe that's what we ought to be doing. Why aren't we doing that?
Because we have a bunch of idiots running our governments, and we have a bunch of businessmen that are making money off of the sale of gas and oil, and people like you and me have to get to work.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, now,
and it's cold. You don't want to cut off natural gas in Europe in the middle of the winter. So.
Yeah, well, let's wait till spring. Wait till the first thaw. Wait till the Rhine has, some free flow, and then we can cut it off.
So maybe that's what they're waiting to do. Maybe at least cut the natural gas off.
Yeah.
Everybody can eat out. Yeah.
Yep. And now with the COVID waning and everything opening back up, the demand is tremendous for people to travel and gas and oil and all that. And of course, the more you open and close your doors, the more your utility bills are going to be in the winter. So everything is, everything. It's kind of a perfect storm for this war, and for the world to have to make decisions about what they want to do to end it. Now that the Iranians are saying they're not going to do a deal with us until we make some concessions first to show them that we're really serious. I think Biden is serious. I think he says, "Oh, let's let them arm. Let's let them get nukes. Why not? Everybody else has one."
Well, I just think they are mad over there. The theory of MAD, mutual assured destruction, has always kept those nukes in their silos. But I think, and over Iran, they really are mad, and they will do it.
Well, I think that the Persians have wanted to take over the world for 2,500, 3,000 years, and they got as far as Greece, and then the Greeks shut them down, and they got as far as the Indus River, and then I think the Indians shut them down. So they've had a pretty good run over the centuries, and I guess they're looking to reclaim that glory, kind of like Italy when they attacked Ethiopia. I'll never understand how Mussolini convinced the Italians that the Ethiopians were a threat, but he did.
It's like I've often wondered that question myself. How did he ever convince anybody that the place to start putting the Roman Empire back together was Ethiopia?
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Here's something you can believe, though, Doc.
You got a winner?
We got a winner. That's right.
All right.
Let's see. We have Janice Thomas of St. Pete knew that Doc purchased himself a Hyundai electric SUV this week, and that's what he's got for new in the garage this week anyway.
Well, I can't put it in the garage because we can't get two cars in there with all my tools, so mine's in the driveway. Hers is in the garage.
Janice, you get yourself two. That's right, two Dr. Bill, your Radio MD mugs, because nobody likes to drink coffee alone in the morning, so we're going to send you two. Thanks, and Doc will have those out to you.
Appreciate you listening, and I hope you enjoy the show. And if the mugs arrive broken or damaged in any way, call Ken. Give Ken a call at the station, let him know, and he'll make it up to you somehow.
I will actually, if they arrive broken, I will actually go to your office and pick two more up and deliver them to her house.
Oh, you are wonderful. Isn't he a sweet man?
That's just the kind of guy I am.
Well, his wife says something a little different, but most people think of him as a good guy.
And my kids might have a different story too, but you
never know. So
to the general public, I'm a nice guy.
Yeah. Meanwhile, back at Twitter, Elon Musk bought 9.2% of the stock of Twitter. He bought almost 10% of the stock of Twitter.
Well, you can do that when you've got all those billions of dollars.
Apparently he's on track to be the first trillionaire in the world. I mean, a trillionaire, he'll be bigger than almost every economy. Maybe 10 or 12 will still be bigger than him, but he'll be worth more than most countries.
What do you think of old Elon?
Well, I think the guy is definitely a brilliant businessman and an idea guy, and I think he has a unique ability to see things through. But he started when he was a teenager. I think he and his brother started PayPal or one of these payment services that they sold for hundreds of millions of dollars, and they got rich when they were very young. So he's had a good long run, and the people that are successful generally they start early in life. If they're really, really successful, if they're tracked into one thing, it's kind of like medicine. You really have to track in early. You have to start thinking about it in high school, because when you go to college, you got to make a decision as to what you're going to take. And so by the time you're 18 or so, you've probably already made the decision you want to be a doctor. And I think that for businessmen, it's a similar situation. They have to decide they want to make a lot of money, they want to be successful, and they want to go after something, and they find a little niche. And if they get the right niche and they've got the drive and the personality for it, they can become ungodly wealthy. So now all the people at Twitter out in San Francisco, they're kind of getting a little poopy in their pants because they're scared, because now he's got a big say in the board, and that's a left-wing outfit, and he's a pretty conservative guy in a lot of ways. And so he wants to change. He's on the board now. Since he bought that much stock, they said, well, I guess we have to put you on the board. And he said, that'd be nice. I got some ideas. I want to change things. And now they're all nervous. And they have a private or a paid service now. And so he wants to cut that. It's like $2.50 a month. And he wants to cut that down to $2 a month. And that way get more people to come in and join it. And he has something like 80 million followers on Twitter. 80 million?
I had no idea. Are you kidding? 80 million?
How do you get 80 million people to read your tweets? I mean, is he that interesting? Of course, my wife, she's a groupie. She's an Elonite, and all I hear about when we go anywhere to eat dinner or go for a long car ride is Elon Musk, Elon Musk. I said, why don't you have his baby, for God's sakes? Get it over with. Of course, she's Medicare and Social Security age, so it might not work. But
well, I'll tell you, what he has done with SpaceX is amazing.
Oh yeah.
When you think about it, what Russia, the U.S., and China and Elon Musk have put people into space.
Yep.
So what he's done with that is just amazing. The way his rockets land themselves and all this innovative things that he's come up with, or at least inspired his engineers to come up with, are truly incredible. He's going to go down in history as one of the greats in space.
Oh yeah, and the ability to bring that first stage back down intact and land it on a pad. Oh my gosh.
Nobody else could do that.
Nobody could.
NASA's building a huge rocket to send to the moon, but it's still all these expendable parts.
Well, yeah.
So it's going to cost billions and billions of dollars.
Of our dollars.
Of our dollars, right?
Well,
when he could probably do it for a third of the cost.
I mean, look, if you give your wife a credit card and say, go buy what you want, do you think she's going to hold back?
No. So we have to have a new way of thinking at NASA.
We do. Here's the thing, though. We're sitting over at I had to go over to Brandon to the Hyundai dealer there, because that's the only place I could find a car, and I'm in St. Pete, so that's like a 45-minute drive over there from here. Actually, it's a little shorter now that they finished the Howard Franklin, not the Howard Franklin, but
Selman. You talking about the Selman extension?
Yeah, the Selman extension on the Gandy.
Mm-hmm.
And so now you can get over there without actually getting off of an interstate or a limited access highway. You can get right to downtown, if there is a downtown Brandon, I don't know. But at any rate, so we got over there and we're sitting there, and she said, well, this will be the last car you get till you die. And I said, oh, that's okay. I said, what about you? She says, oh, I'll get one, maybe two more.
Planning on hanging around a little bit longer, huh?
Well, even if I'm still alive, if I've got something to drive around in my bicycle, I'm okay. She'll have to take care of herself.
Well, enjoy the car. It sure sounds nice.
Yeah. And so Elon Musk is shaking up Twitter. And for those of you who don't know what Twitter is, it was started back in, 2005 or 6. And it's kind of like a text messaging, only it's a website where you do it. So you don't have to send a text message or an SMS message on your cell phone to somebody. You can post it to your Twitter account, and people can reuse it and look at it and see it. But I guess you're limited into how much you're allowed to write at any one time. So, it used to be like 120 words. I don't know, might be more now. But I think they do have a live streaming section, because I know that, or I think that I'm streaming live this show on Twitter. But there's, I guess, a couple of other platforms within that platform. But it's fascinating how fast the world has changed just because of these computers and social networking and the internet. You think about it, I mean, it's really changed everything. It really has.
Well, Elon's talking about he wants to bring what he calls free speech back to Twitter.
Yeah, good luck. He'll have a fight there, but with owning almost 10% of the stock, I think he's going to have a lot to say. And
That's exactly, yeah.
And I hear Trump asked if Elon could put in a good word for him and get his account opened back up. And, they need that. I mean, that's good for business. That draws in a crowd.
Oh, yeah. How many followers does the former president have there, huh?
Oh, my gosh.
Probably almost as much as Elon.
Oh, I'm sure he had.
Yeah.
At least 50 million people around the world listening to him. If not for love, for hate, but still,
Still, they're there.
Any press is good press.
No, you got that right, Doc.
By the way, the South Koreans said if we'll give them strategic weapons or tactical weapons or whatever it is they want, upgraded weapons, they'll increase their chip exports to the United States. They send a lot to China right now, and I think they want to kind of cool that relationship down a little bit and put a little pressure on the Chinese to not help the North Koreans as much. But we'll see what happens. We could use some more chips with all the demand for cars. There's no new cars. I talk to people. They go to dealerships to get their cars worked on and ask about trading in for a new car. There aren't any. There are no new cars out there. There's just a real dearth of opportunities to buy, especially these electric cars. I wanted that Ford F-150 electric, and it wouldn't be around for 2 more years. Can you believe that? 2 years.
2 years?
2 years. 2 years.
Well, you're lucky to get this one then.
Yeah, I was. They had a blue one, and they were trying to push that off on me, and I said, no, I want the white one when it comes in. And so they called me, and they said, do you really want this white one? Because some of our salespeople have people interested in it. I said, I gave you $500, dude. That's
mine, yeah.
I'm coming over there and getting it. Well, we need an exact time you're going to be here. I said, okay, I'll be there at 2 this afternoon. All right, we'll have it all prepped. Well, I got there, and there's still saran wrap on the thing, and you know how they have that sticky plastic stuff to protect everything.
Right.
So I don't think they actually detailed it. I think they just kind of went through and said, hey, rip that off, get that off. Anyway, I got it, but it's not cheap.
No.
Now you can also,
but as long as you're happy, as long as it's comfortable and we've got a nice ride.
You got to keep these things about 7 years to make them pay off, because you save money on gas, but you got to pay electricity. You save money on oil and maintenance, but you got to pay the premium for the darn car. So you have to hold them about 7 years. And I held my F-150 for 22 years, and we held the Expedition from 2003 until yesterday when I dropped it off at the service station. So I'm known for holding on to cars, so I think I'll get my money's worth out of it. And I would suspect, too, Ken, that if I wanted to trade in a couple of years, it'll probably be worth more than what I paid for it.
The way we're going, absolutely.
I would not be.
How long do the batteries last, though? they must be replaced at some point.
I think 7 years is what they say. And I was talking with my mechanic, and he said, when you put these things up on the rack to do work on them, to lube them or work on the front end or whatever, you have to be careful because the batteries, it's like a flat bed underneath the cockpit and the rear seat. And so they have to be careful where they put their little metal tongs to lift the car up, because if you rupture one of these, well, you're going to electrify the whole lift platform. And they wear gloves when they work on these things that are I guess they're electricity proof. They're non-conducting gloves, so they don't get shocked.
So mechanics everywhere must be, I imagine, they're studying feverishly to figure out how to fix all these cars, because they're completely different. I mean, they have so many fewer moving parts than a gas-powered car.
Well, my mechanic said, Doc, I'm going back to peanut butter and jelly sandwiches because of you.
Oh, really?
He's not going to have anything to do. But I said, I'll bring it in. And, by the way, we got a bumper-to-bumper 10-year warranty on the mechanical part of it, and a 7-year warranty on the body, on nicks and dings, and on the leather interior on this thing. Now, it's going to cost $7,200 for a 10-year, but I can go anywhere. I can take it to my mechanic that I've been using for the past 25 years, who are all my patients and friends and all that. And so that's a good thing. That's one thing I did like about it. But that's not cheap, $7,200.
No, it's not, but could pay off in the end. You never know.
Yeah, I mean, you figure it's, $720 a year. So
that's not bad.
Should pay off.
Maintenance. Just put it up to maintenance,
Get this.
So you don't need any oil changes.
Nope.
Don't have to buy any gas.
Nope. So
don't need to. That you really do cut down a lot of what a mechanic might do for you. I could see.
Yep. So they're going.
With the profession, might be a little nervous.
Yeah, they'll be scrambling. There'll be a lot more lawnmower repairs going on in the world. So Michigan man, this guy in Michigan, he lived with his dead roommate for a month. And so there was a welfare check to go into the home and see what was going on. And the police found the dead guy in the bathtub. And his friend, Mark Means, 58 of Independence Township, excuse me, said, oh, he's asleep. And they said, no, he's not. He's dead. He's dead on a doornail. It looks like he's been dead for a month. And it turns out it was a natural death. And he said, they asked him, he said, well, why didn't you call somebody and tell somebody? He said, well, now that you're here, I think it's probably a good idea to tell you, yeah, he's dead. So he was arrested for not reporting a dead body in his home. And he's in jail on $5,000 bail, which he can't raise. And but he will be allowed to return home to pick up his personal belongings, said 52nd District Court Judge Joseph Fabrizio. Said, yeah, you can go home and get your stuff and then come on back to jail, and we got a nice little warm bunk for you. And I'm guessing that this guy probably doesn't care where he lives or who he lives with. He can live in jail as well as he can live with a dead guy in the house.
That is so bizarre, Doc. I had not heard that story before.
This was just, I guess they just found him. This was April 10th, so this is today. I guess it was yesterday they went over there and picked his...
Just living there in the house with a dead guy in the bathtub.
Yeah. I mean, what are you going to do with a dead guy? Where do you put him? I guess the bathtub's as good as anywhere.
I guess so, yeah. What? Just so bizarre. People are nuts these days.
Well, there's no more nuttierness around than before. We just know about it instantly.
I guess so. See, that's why I say I blame the internet. Because it was this kind of stuff probably happened all the time throughout history. It's just nobody knew about it.
Nobody, yeah. It wasn't reported. Man mass murders family in cabin in Alaska, and it takes 3 years for anybody to find out that they're all dead and buried somewhere.
Yeah, I mean the rest of the block might know about it, but nobody else. So it's the internet's fault. I'm blaming all our problems now on the internet.
It's all the internet. So then this came in. There was a gun range in Grantville, Georgia, which is near to us, and a couple of guys went in. Apparently, at the closing time yesterday.
2 minutes. 2 minutes.
and they killed the two owners and their grandson, their 19-year-old grandson, who was home on spring break. And they don't have any clues or any ideas, and I guess the police force there is composed of 10 or 12 guys, and they've never had a murder to investigate. Now they've got a triple homicide, and I'm understanding that the people that killed them took off with 40 of their weapons. So now ATF is in on it because that's a lot of weapons that are floating around, 40 guns. And they also took off with the range's surveillance cameras. I hope they got the video recorder, too, because if they left that, they might.
Well, criminals are not known for being that smart, so it's possible they just took the cameras.
So they've got the Georgia Bureau of Investigation in on it, and they've got the ATF, and everybody's in on it. And there's a $15,000 reward for anybody who has any information on this. So
One minute.
So we'll see what happens there. And by the way, don't forget, I mean, I know it's getting kind of worn out, but we still have some COVID vaccine for fourth shot for the booster, and we have rapid testing. The wife wants to use some of these test kits up because we paid so much for them. So even if you don't need it, come on in and get one. And we're at 727-384-6411, 727-384-6411. And we're there
30 seconds. 30 seconds.
For you. Oh, I'll have to tell you one of these times. I'll have to tell you about the guy that I pronounced dead up in Tennessee, who got toasted in his own fire. His still, some of his competition knocked his still over and set him on fire. And I asked TBI, I said, "You going to look for these guys?" They said, "Hell no, Doc." So Tennessee Bureau of
Say bye, Doc.
said, "No, I'm out of here. Bye."
Thank you for listening to Dr. Bill, your radio MD. Join Dr. Bill every Sunday morning at 9 for more insight, information, provocation, and fun. Dr. Bill Handelman practices in St. Petersburg, Florida at Bay Area Medical Can Care Clinic, 6399 38th Avenue North. For your convenience, telemedicine appointments are available. Call his office today at 727-384-6411. That's 727-384-6411. Or visit his website at cancareclinic.com.